Hello, everyone. How's it going? I'm your host, Migdalia Bonilla, with another podcast episode, Life with Migdalia. But we're just going to jump into it because I feel like there's a lot of shit that I have to say. So, remember how I said that I was going to go through, like, the nitty gritty of my previous relationships because a lot of them are, like, what the fuck type moments? And my voice may seem a little weird because bartending really is, screaming and asking people what the hell they want for a majority of the night and just yapping. So don't mind it. Been doing that for a hot minute. I mean, I shouldn't even say a hot minute, like a week. Yeah. But it's going really well and I love it. I love yapping with people, but we're just going to dive in. Okay. So, you guys know my exes that have their code names. We have Jailbait, Shop Rat, and Pugsley. Okay? Those were, I guess, three significant relationships in my life. And they were all kind of crazy. Hold on, I'm yawning. Okay. So, we're going to do this in order because I like the timeline. I love having timelines of things. So, first off, Jailbait. How I met Jailbait. I met Jailbait in high school, junior year to be specific, and it was when my dad was like deployed for a few months. So I was like kind of sad, like waiting for my dad to get home, or even like scared if he wasn't going to get home. But huge player, okay? Jailbait was a huge player, just a man whore, like whatever. Yeah. And he looked like that guy from LMFAO, like white glasses, skinny jeans that were kind of sagged a bit, and like mixed with a greaser, if that makes any sense. And you know when guys like shave the sides of their head but like kind of leave the top so they can put it in a man bun? He got to that point. Like it was so weird and he couldn't pull it off to save his fucking life. But he didn't look like that at first. Like it got to that point. But he had like the bad boy effect. Like, I don't know. When he walked into that room, it was like, I don't want to say like love at first sight because I'm definitely not like a love at first sight type of person, but I think people do have that kind of effect on others when they're like super attractive or like what you're looking for specifically. And sometimes people just know, like, sure, it can happen to other people, but being a 16 or 17-year-old girl, whatever. So, bad boy effect, like, oh no. And we started off like as friends, normal friends, but like he wasn't necessarily interested in me, but I always had like a little crush on him, and he was always like with a girl. So I like kind of put it in the back of my mind as like, I don't really want this to happen, but the cliche bad boy effect where like if you read a book and it's the good girl falling for the guy who's like does drugs and fucks around and finds out type of shit. Yeah, it was exactly like that. When I tell you it was exactly like that, I mean like to a T. So I was like, didn't want any of the smoke. I didn't want, the issue, but it was the whole idea of being with the guy who had all these girls and made bad decisions and whatever else, like a fucking rom-com book, and me being the fucking girl who read Wattpad stories of like, that same exact scenario. It was kind of, not a surprise. So we started off as friends, and then junior year ended. I had like on and off, not even on and off boyfriends. I had boyfriends that lasted like 2 weeks, and that was about it because it made me uncomfortable to date. And I kind of knew that about myself. Like, it made me uncomfortable to date. And I would always break up with, guys that I was dating. But junior year, I think ending of junior year. Yes. Okay, I'm finding the timeline. So, end of junior year, it was like, what was it? May? Yeah. Because I was dating this guy. We're going to call him Church Boy because he was very religious. And I don't want to think of some super crazy code name. Very religious. He was like the first guy that I like ever did anything with. Still a virgin at this point. And I had dated him. Let's see, I met him. He was like friends with one of my other friend's brothers. So I had a friend. It was her brother. He had a group of friends. The church boy was part of that friend group. And we were over at a bonfire. Like, I initially, like, didn't want anything to do with him, but, like, I would talk and he would, like, always listen. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Like, he's listening to me speak. And I didn't feel like I was, like, a burden or, like, being ignored like I usually was ignored. And I like that. So, like, I started talking to him. We, went on a few dates, did some stuff, like, whatever. And then I was still, like, not talking to, but, like, on a friendly level of just, like, Facebook friends with jailbait. Like, we were not really messaging. And I don't know if he, like, sent me a meme or something, because, like, that was his whole fucking thing, is, like, memes. Don't know. And we started chatting, and it wasn't really flirty. It was still friendly. But I was still, like, on the fence with Church Boy, because, like, he was so fucking religious. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I don't want to do this. So I ended up, like, wanting to break up with Church Boy shortly after. And I did it in a fucking Tim Hortons parking lot. And I felt so bad. Like, it's not fun breaking up with somebody. It never is. So, but I'm from a small town. So I did it in a Tim Hortons parking lot. And it was walking distance to a McDonald's, which is where I worked. And I was telling my mom that I was planning on, like, ending it because I just didn't feel like doing this shit. So she was like, when you get done doing that, like, let me know. I'll come pick you up and you will go for ice cream after. So I told him, I was like, hey, and I had planned this for like a couple of days. I was like, I don't know how anyone's going to take it. I don't want to put myself in like a bad situation. I don't know how this is going to go. So we're going to go to Tim Hortons before we quote unquote have to go to the movies. And I was sitting with him in his car. I was like, hey, like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm breaking up with you. Like, it's just not it for me. And then I got out of the car, walked into Tim Hortons, walked to the opposite side of the store and walked out their back door. Kept walking down a side street. And he, like, chased after me, which in hindsight, a lot of people be like, oh my God, that's so cute. That's so romantic. But, like, I don't know. He was my height, maybe an inch shorter. It was just not a very, like, ick type of situation. Like, I told you I'm breaking up with you. It's not like this romantic thing. We're not in love or anything. Like, whatever. If it would have been a different story. Like, if it was, like, I don't know, someone I was falling in love with. I'm like, oh my God, that's so romantic. Like, chasing after me. Yeah, no, it was nothing like that. So he chased after me. He was like, why? What happened? I was like, I just don't feel it, and you can't really change my mind. But thank God that he had just fucking graduated high school, mind you, so I didn't have to see him. And he like walked away, walked back to his car, and I just kept walking down these side streets. Not even side streets. Like the neighborhood, so I could get to fucking McDonald's, so I could, be somewhere I'm somewhat comfortable, which is my place of work. And I ended up calling jailbait on the way there. And I was like, yeah, like, just broke up with him. Fucking sucked. Like, I hate hurting people's feelings. This isn't ideal. Like, yeah. And he was like, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. So that kind of kick-started, like, a different version of comfort within our friendship dynamic. And I ended up going, walking to McDonald's. My mom ended up picking me up, and my sister was really little at this point. And she was like, we're gonna go get for ice cream because, your sister had to break up with somebody, and that's never fun. So she was kind of setting that example, and I thought that was cute, and it's something that I remember to this day. But then shortly after all of that, we started talking out. We started talking more, and eventually hung out. And that's crazy. In my notes, I literally had the code name for church boy, and I didn't even fucking realize it. I just looked at the sentence. But we had talked on Facebook Messenger mostly, and where was it? Yeah, Facebook Messenger mostly. And then I had asked him, like, I had just gotten a new laptop, and I knew that he was, like, tech savvy. So my uncle had just gifted me a laptop for, like, my senior year, because he wasn't going to be here for my graduation, army shit, and, yeah. So I texted him, I was like, hey, can you, like, help me set up this laptop, do all this stuff that we need for digital media, because I guess I should have specified more. So he wasn't in my high school. We went to, like, a tech center type of place where I think a lot of people call it, like, PanCal or some shit. It's where you go to your home school, as in your main high school, and then you get on a bus to go to a different school that is specifically tied to careers. So it's got, like, cosmetology, automotive, culinary, construction, like, body shop stuff, digital media technology, like, all of that stuff, nursing. So it was all in one, and there were a select group of kids at junior and senior year who would get bussed over there in the morning or in the afternoon. We were always in the afternoon. That's just, how we did it, just to have habit. And that's how we met. So we went to digital media technology. So that was, like, my way of being like, hey, can you help me, put this together, set this up, do all this, blah, blah, blah. And my mom and dad were super strict. So I could only hang out with people if their parents were home, especially a guy whose parents were home. So I told my mom, because of my knowledge, like, what he had said to me, his grandparents were there. And we went over there. They dropped me off. She was going to pick me up in, like, an hour or two. And then I walk in and realize, like, it was just his sister, a couple of his sister's friends, maybe one of his friends, and no grandparents. So we hung out there. They like to smoke weed and whatever. I wasn't into that shit. So I went into the kitchen, or I was, like, waiting for something, and I just remember him coming up behind me, like, at his house, and, like, kissing me. And I think that was, like, my first real, like, kiss with somebody that I actually, like, was attracted to, rather than just kissing people for the hell of it. So, like, very, daydream, blah, 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 movie scene, mental, delusional type shit. That was our first kiss. We didn't do anything more. I will say that. We did not do anything more. So, mom and dad, if you're listening, we didn't do anything else. But not to say, like, don't listen to the rest of this episode. After that, like, my parents, or my mom, I think she was with my grandma too, came to pick me up. That was it. Like, I don't know if I ended up telling them that his grandparents weren't there, so they were kind of upset, but I can't remember if I did or not. He ended up getting kicked out of his grandparents' house and staying with his friend around the corner, like something with his grandfather. And I had lost my virginity to him. So like all of senior year, or I guess like the summer before, like we had been talking, and then, you know, all that kick started, and then we started our senior year. And it progressed, like, obviously. And I remember, like, I don't know, he had like a hard time opening up to me. I was like, dude, like, blah blah blah, ABCD, you know, trying to do this, trying to get him to open up. And he like ended up getting so mad at me as I was like trying to get him to open up, and it was like that cliche of like, I don't want to open up to you. You just make it so easy to open up to you. Hand to the forehead. Just no. I don't want to open up to you. You just make it so easy. Yeah, that type of bullshit. And he ended up like, I guess, admitting that he loved me, like over text message, whatever, blah blah blah. And I had said the same thing, whatever. Don't know if he ever cheated on me, because there was an instance where he had like slept all day, and like the night before he had like we had plans to hang out. And this was like January of 2017. Yeah. So we got into like one of our first arguments. Milo, we are not doing this. No. He like grabbed one of his squeaky toys. No. Put your octopus away. Anyway, January, like, whatever, he was falling in love with me. I think one of his friends had died previously, so he was, like, really sad and internalized about this. And I almost stopped talking to him because I had heard that he had done cocaine. And, like, I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not dating somebody who does, like, drugs like that. That's insane. And I almost stopped talking to him. And then he was like, no, like, it's only a one-time thing, whatever, blah, 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 moving on. So then, come January, like, he had hung out. Oh my God, I'm so tired. He had hung out with his, no. My God, this damn dog. He had hung out with, like, a previous ex or something, and she had admitted that she had feelings for him, and he ended up telling me, and he was like, nothing ever happened, like, whatever. I can't trust that shit. I don't know what even happened. I have no idea. So it almost started an argument, or it did start an argument, and then we were going to hang out, and then he had slept the whole entire day, basically ditched me, and it was late at night, and I was working. I was like, hello, what the fuck's going on? Didn't respond to me, and I don't even think we ended up hanging out because it got so late, and I was about to leave. But then I was hanging out with my friend, codename Macy, and we were watching a movie, and a sex scene had come on, and she was like, I want this for you, like, I want you to experience this, because she had already had sex, and I was still, like, 18 and a virgin, and I wanted it to be with somebody that I, like, really, really cared about, or just was in love with. And she was like, you should do it, because she was giving me shit prior of, like, me wanting to do it, but she was like, this guy's, like, kind of weird, like, whatever. And then something, I guess, changed her mind. She's like, I want this for you. Like, she encouraged me to go do it, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go do it. So I ended up texting him, being like, hey, do you want to hang out tonight? And I ended up driving, because I already had a cover, like, I was going over to Macy's house, and I was spending the night, so I didn't really have to tell my parents. But I was paranoid that they had put, like, a tracker in the car that I had, and yeah, so I was worried about that. Nothing ever happened with it, though. So I guess they never put a tracker in my car. Anyway, went over there, lost my virginity in my first fucking car, and made him use a condom. Duh. So paranoid about being getting pregnant. Yeah. So I would, like, after that, I would constantly tell my parents I'm gonna go hang out with Macy, but I really want to go hang out with Jailbait. And then I would just, like, come home and the morning. Like, there were times where I slept in my car with him because, like, we didn't have anywhere else to stay. And we went to the winter formal together. It was me, him, and Macy. And then that night, like, I guess he had told me that he forgot to ask me to be his girlfriend because he was distracted by me all night, which that doesn't make any fucking sense. So he went to the winter formal in, like, February, I think. And then he called me and made me, like, ask me to be his girlfriend officially, whatever. Here's where the trauma fucking starts, okay? So the night, like, I guess 2 months later, okay, like, what was I? I was in, was it fucking, oh, no, this is very important. End of, like, February, January or February sometime, I got a text message from one of his friends. She had said, hey, jailbait is, like, got arrested. He's in jail. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm, like, freaking out. I'm in Florida, freaking the fuck out, being like, what the fuck are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, trying to get some answers. A few hours later, he texted me or she texted me, whatever, saying it was a joke. They were both in on it. Super funny. Oh my God. Like, they thought it was so hilarious. In hindsight, this makes perfect fucking sense because he knew something that I fucking didn't. But I'll get to that. So that started the joke. Okay? Remember that part. Him getting arrested, going to jail was a joke while I was in fucking Florida. Crazy. Awful. Terrible joke. 2 months later, it was spring break. I was supposed to, I had spring break, and then the weekend that spring break was ending, I was in, like, a competition for my digital media technology class for photography. We were going to States, I think. So we were going to Grand Rapids for the trip for 3 days to do this competition. And he was supposed to be going too. So I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. We're going to hang out. We're going to do, all these things together. We're going to be basically, like, independent for, a whole weekend. Like, that's so awesome. And I had gotten a text message, like, I think it was Wednesday. So we were supposed to leave Friday to go on this fucking competition trip. Got a text message from his sister telling me to call their grandma. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So then I get her number, I call her, I'm like, hey, like, what's going on? And I was hanging out with Macy that, like, whole entire day. So I wasn't really, like, on my phone texting him that much. And again, I called her, and I just remember her saying, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Jailbait got arrested and put in jail. And I was like, this is a fucking joke again, because he's already done this. You're joking. She was like, no, honey, I'm not. I was like, no. Like, you're actually joking me right now. And I ended up, like, bawling my fucking eyes out. Macy ended up driving over to his grandparents' house. And yeah, so, like, she had told me the whole story. He had a warrant out for his arrest fucking December. He knew he had a warrant out for his arrest for being accused of rape. Yeah. So I guess the joke, like, me thinking about it now, I guess the joke was maybe trying to set me up for his potential arrest. And yeah, so there was the rape allegations with this girl, okay? And I more so, like, now know, like, given my experience, because he pretty sure did the same thing to me, and the story just, like, all clicked together once I realized this shit. But I didn't know it at the time. So I'll wait till the end of it to like get whatever. I would go visit him in jail. Like, I would put money in his commissary. I would take his sister to visit him. I took his mom to visit him. I went to his court hearing. Like, I did it all because I was 18-year-old girl in love, and I thought this was going to be the person that I spent the rest of my life with. Blah, 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 boo-hoo, cry, 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 whatever. He ended up getting transferred to, like, mid-Michigan jail. I can't even tell you what the fuck it was. He got sentenced 5 to 10 years, and, like, I didn't like his family only because, like, I don't even know, like, reasons, whatever. They were just, in my head, mentally, like, trashy. I don't know. Don't really care. But I guess there were also allegations towards, like, what he had done to his, like, stepsister or something. I don't know if they're true. At this point, like, I don't care. Don't care if they're true. Like, actually, let me rephrase. I care if they're true because I don't want, like, somebody going through that. But I'm referring to I don't care because it makes no difference to, like, the end result, if that makes sense, of, like, the story. But I went to visit him one time in that, mid-Michigan jail or whatever, and I had one of his guy friends, like, go with me because I wasn't going to ask one of my friends, and I, like, felt safer with a guy. And I, like, knew his guy friend, so it was fun. And he was going to take me, but then something happened to his car, so I was like, let's just use my car because I was, like, nervous about driving. But I just still wanted somebody to go with me. And it was, like, an in-person, like, visit. Because when you go to jail, you don't really have, and they could have changed this, you have to do, like, the whole plexiglass type of visit. Like, there is no physical contact. But when you get, like, fully sentenced, you, I think, can do those, oh my fucking god, those physical visits. So when he got sentenced, he went to prison, whatever, it became, like, physical interaction, so I could, like, we could hug each other or whatever. And then shortly after that, it started to, like, dawn on me, like, everything. And I broke up with him over, like, the email because I didn't want him to call me and, like, ask questions or anything. And I broke up with him, like, December/January of 2018. So from the time of April 2017 to December of 2017 or January of 2018 is how long I stayed, like, being there for him and didn't, like, so when people, like, question my loyalty, I somewhat get offended because I'm like, I stayed with somebody for, like, 8 fucking months while they were in fucking, like, jail, prison. And I didn't stray away. Like, my loyalty was still there. Like, it was fucking crazy. But I remember at my graduation party, I was talking to my mom's best friend, Sarah, about the situation because I trusted her. I felt comfortable with her. I, felt like I could open up. And she ended up telling my mom, but they had blamed it on my uncle's wife, so my aunt, overhearing and then telling my mom because they didn't want to not make me feel uncomfortable for going to Sarah. So they made my aunt take the fall for Sarah ratting me out, which when I was younger, I was like heartbroken. I was disappointed. Like, I ended up taking it out on my aunt. Like, I don't want her here. Like, I don't want blah, blah, blah. Because my mom had ended up talking to me. She was like, you know what you have to do. Like, this cannot be a thing. Like, you have a little sister to think about. And if these allegations are true, like, what is, like, this will never be a thing. This will never be accepted. And my mom was really calm about it. And she wasn't, like, mad or anything. She was actually really understanding, because I think part of her knew that this was like my first, like, I had given my virginity to him, like it was a first type of relationship. My parents didn't like him off the bat based off of his looks. Valid. And now as an adult, like, I know, like, yeah, I'm, like, I never regretted my decision. I never once, like, I figured it out. I knew what I wanted. Like, I knew that this wasn't the life that I wanted. And it set me up for, later relationships too, of like really honing in on what I want and making it happen, or, cutting those ties. But I had watched Shameless, and I'm pretty sure, like, I told the story before on previous podcast. I was watching Shameless, and there was a scene of Carl hooking up with this girl. And he wanted to use a condom. She didn't. So while they were getting hot and heavy, making out or whatever, he was like, no. Like, I want to use a condom. And she was like, no, it's fine. It feels so much better. And she climbs on top of him and, like, basically, like, that's, like, raping him. Like, raped. And when I tell you that that is exactly what happened to me, I remember when Jailbait and I would hang out, we would go over to his sister's and her boyfriend's apartment, and we would use that as a way to spend the night together so that way we could have sex. And I remember, like, I had got a whole thing of fucking condoms. Like, I wanted to use them. I did not want to get pregnant. I only wanted to have sex with condoms. So I had told him, like, I don't want to have sex. Like, we were getting hot and heavy. Like, our pants were off. Like, I stopped. And I was like, wait. Let me get a condom. And I only realized that they were in my car. So I was like, let me go, out of the car. Let me get the other ones. Like, give me a minute. And he, like, grabbed me and, like, put me on top of him. So I was, like, straddling him. So I, like, kind of riding him. And he was like, no, we don't need them. And I was like, no, but I want to use them. And he was like, no, but they feel so much better, like, without them. And I was like, no. Like, I said, no, I don't want to use it. But it was like I don't want to, like, it wasn't like a definite, like, no, which no is a full sentence. So I'm not trying to diminish it. But it was like more of a flirty, like, no, I really don't want to. Like, I want to use the condoms. Like, it wasn't more of a, no, shut the fuck up. It was a, no, like, I really want to use the condoms. So let me get up. Like, I'll put my pants back on and I'm going to go outside really quick and I'll get them. Like, it was more of a, I really don't know how to describe it. And he wasn't aggressive about it either until he, like, grabbed my hips and forced me down on top of him. And it fucking hurt. I will say, like, because condoms are lubricated. And I remember him, like, pulling me down on top of him, like, pushing me down so that way he, penetration. And it fucking hurt a little bit. I shouldn't even say a little bit. It fucking hurt. And, like, that's how it started. But it wasn't aggressive. And I realized, like, yeah, does feel better raw, but it's still the point. Like, I said no 3 times. I was like, let me go get the condoms, and he just didn't listen. So what clicked is when he was telling me the story of this girl and everything, he had said that she was on top of him and, like, there was blood or something, like, on his shirt because she was, like, a virgin or something. or it was like one of her first time. Because like even if you are a virgin or you like have sex like a couple times after that, you can still bleed. And it's only like a little bit of blood, like kind of like maybe a little more spotting, but not like a full period type of blood. And you know, it clicked after the fact, like, oh my God, this actually did happen. He just doesn't realize that it's fucking rape. He did that to that girl. He did the same exact thing to that girl that he did to me. And then, you know, I went with like the whole, it happened fucking years after realizing it. Like 5 years after, not even, maybe 4. Of me realize like, oh my God, this actually makes sense. Like the way he was describing this and me like calling his lawyer and whatever else. Like, yeah. So when I actually broke up with him, like December 2017, January 2018, Alec was actually the one that helped me like push, not really push me through it, but like walk me through it. Like, he's like, do you really want this? Like, is this something you actually want? Like, what do you see for yourself? What's your future like? What are your goals? And talking to Alec, like, clicked. Like, I was like, no, actually, like, I don't want this. Like, this is so fucked up. Like, I don't want this. And I just needed a little help. I needed a little push. Like, somebody being like, it's okay to walk away from someone or a situation like this if it's not what you want. If this is not, you know, what your goals are in life. And that's okay. Like, you have to do what's best for you. And it really helped me a lot because I was, you know, putting myself in this situation that really wasn't helping myself whatsoever. Like, I was depressed for months. I didn't want to do anything for months. I ended up pushing people away like Macy and basically telling her like I didn't want to be friends with her anymore. But, you know, a lot of other things had led up to that point too. Like her coming to my graduation party and basically staying for 10 minutes and then leaving with her boyfriend and then coming back for a 10 minutes 2 hours after she was gone. And yeah, but I just became numb and angry and just emotionless, and I didn't care about myself. I didn't care about others. All I wanted to do was distract myself, and it just became chaotic, and like I was lied to, and I felt abandoned. Like, he knew he had a warrant out for his arrest, and he still lied to me. Like, he let this drop a bomb on me out of nowhere, and it was so fucking traumatizing having to go through all of this. And like, yeah, you should always expect the unexpected, but like, never in a million years would I have expected that fucking thing to happen to me. Like, we all think, oh, that's never gonna happen to me, and then it fucking does. Like, it was crazy. So I ended up becoming a version of myself that just really thought that I deserved all this shit that was happening. Like, all the bad shit, all like being left, being lied to, like didn't care about anyone's feelings, just became the shell of what I was. And it was so bad. It was so fucking awful. And my first year of college, like, I was still in that point right before I had broken up with him. So it was August of 2017. And that's where I had met Brooke in one of my art classes. And being friends with Brooke was one of the best things that I have ever did as a fucking teenager. Like, she's weird and she's kooky and she's a goofball, and, you know, she can be overwhelming, or she was very overstimulating once upon a time, because like, she would text me like 20 times in a row, like those thought bubbles, like every time you have a new thought, like it just being a text message. Like, that's how Brooke was when we first started talking. And she was very boy crazy, but she was like funny and full of love and life and just like great at conversations and very smart, very intelligent. Like, she helped me open up so much, and where I thought like I didn't care. I did not care. And, you know, being friends with her throughout the almost 10 years of my life has been fucking awesome. And she was there for me with the whole jailbait, not the whole jailbait situation, but closer to the end, where like she watched me take phone calls with him while he was calling me from prison and everything. And yeah, so she's seen the hard parts of that too. But, you know, I really tried pushing her away, tried not making friends, tried being by myself, and she ended up catching feelings for that guy, Jailbait's friend, that went to visit him in prison with me. But, you know, didn't really work out for them in the end. So, but I became friends with her in my art class, and then, you know, she was very supportive throughout the whole thing. And then I broke up with him January 2018. And I dropped all of his shit off at his mom's house. Like in a box. Just like hoodies and his phone and whatever else. Just in a fucking box on his mom's doorstep. And I ended up texting her like, hey, all of his stuff is on the back door. And Macy ended up driving me. And yeah, so Brooke encouraged me to download Tinder for my first time and do all of this other shit and, you know, get back into the dating scene, like try to find myself. And that's where I met Shop Rat in my fucking art class in January. But I didn't want like really anything to do with him. Like this gets fucking worse. I didn't really want anything to do with Shop Rat. He was just really there for whatever. Like, he was the only semi-attractive person in my art class, and honestly, he wasn't even that fucking attractive. He was maybe an inch taller than me or my height, and like always fucking just like wearing a brown leather jacket and whatever. He was very scrawny, like guy, very country. Yeah, like he liked me way more than I liked him, but it was a good distraction, and I forced myself into this relationship because, you know, I deserve shitty things, which is not like, I definitely don't think that way anymore, but this was my mentality, like in that time frame of, I thought that I deserved shitty situations and just like bare fucking minimum. Oh, which reminds me, jailbait like also didn't work. So like when we went out on dates and stuff, like usually I'm the one who had to drive. I had to do a lot of the other shit. Like for, I think it's a Valentine's Day dinner, surprisingly he ended up paying for it, but it was literally like, I don't know, $10 for us to fucking eat because it was Taco Tuesday or some shit. And like very, very bare minimum for these two, Shop Rat and Jailbait. So Shop Rat and I really didn't end up dating until April. He was super controlling, like very controlling over my friends, over my time. He was super fucking judgmental about everything. I got my first tattoo when I was with him, and he like hated tattoos. Anytime I like talked about my tattoo, he was like, why would you ever want to do that to your skin? And it was only because like he was very much like, I don't know, like just controlled by his parents. Like anytime they had a thought or an opinion, it would somehow be the same thought and opinion that he would gravitate towards. Like it was so weird. He did not have an independent thought for himself, and dude had the personality of a fucking rock with googly eyes on it. I'm dead ass. He was, I like told him, he told me everything that his parents said about me. Like, and this made me be even more of a shell within myself. Like, I was trying to, I guess, open up in front of his family and like talk about things because they were very much into boat racing, very much into the country lifestyle. And his dad owned his own like repair shop. So like that's why he's called Shop Rat, is because like his dad owned his own like car shop in his garage, literally in their back fucking yard. So like you go down their long driveway and their yard would be like cluttered with fucking cars and shit. And yeah, he would tell me things like if I ever got as big as his mom, he'd break up with me, which his mom wasn't even like big. She was still a petite woman. She just still she like had a belly and there was nothing wrong with that. She was maybe, I want to say 165 pounds. And at that point, I was maybe 120. And he told me like that shit. He constantly made me feel like shit about my tattoo. He made me feel like shit about what I was wearing. Just made me feel like shit about myself and my personality. Is like anytime I would ask a question or anything in like around his family and his like family friends, one of these guys would always look at me like after I would ask the question and be like, "You're so pretty." Like as a way to make me feel dumb about asking a question. And I fucking hated it. He always like that was just a thing, and he never really defended me either. Like he was very much a fucking vagina. Actually, very much a pussy. I was gonna make a little joke or whatever, but you know, being as balls are more sensitive than vaginas because vaginas go through a whole lot of shit, so why do we call, you know, people pussies or vaginas as a way to make them weak when in reality balls are weak? Like, yeah. Anyway, moving on. He was obsessed with like boat racing and he just didn't care about any effort. Like I would go over to his house after work because if I like didn't go and see him, he'd be like, "Why don't you want to see me? Like, are you fucking cheating on me? Like, what's going on? Why don't you want to come over?" And I would just sit there at his house doing nothing. And he would suggest like I learn car shit and help him work on car shit. And I was like, no, like I don't want to do that. Because I would sit in the house and like get to know his mom and hang out with her to the point where she like I was doing it for like 2 weeks. Like I would go say hi, whatever they were doing, and then I would go in the house and hang out with her for like an hour or two, and then we would go see what they were doing, and it was maybe yeah, for a week or two, like whenever I was over there. And she and I guess his dad were like, it's really weird that she comes over and she just like comes into the house and hangs out with me for a couple of hours when she should be over here spending time with you. But they're fucking in the garage working on cars. They're doing their job. So what am I going to do? Just sit there and do nothing? Like, no. And she was teaching me how to make shit. Like she was teaching me how to make fucking pumpkin pie or some shit. So, yeah. It was going to be our anniversary at one point, and I got in like Cedar Point tickets, free admission, by the way. And I said, "Hey, do you want to go like use these tickets because they're going to expire in the next few months? We could go for our anniversary." And he was like, "It's boat racing or it's going to be boat racing season." I don't think so. Or I don't know if I could do that. It's going to be boat racing season. I was like, "You can't take a day?" He was like, "No, I can't." I was like, "Oh, okay." He just didn't really care much about anything. I remember like, and this is the controlling aspect. So I was hanging out with my friend, what the fuck was her code name? Starts with a J. I know I wrote it down. Belle. Whatever. Belle. I was hanging out with Belle. And she had just got her new, like, first apartment with her boyfriend and his roommate. And, it was great. And I just remember, like, they had a guy friend that I just clicked with. He was super sweet, super great. And it wasn't Belle's boyfriend's roommate. It was, like, a different guy that they were friends with. We ended up clicking. He wanted to be, like, a pediatrician or, like, a nurse or something. And at this point, like, Shop Rat and I were dating for maybe a couple of weeks. Yeah, I'd say so. It was getting nicer out. Because we started dating mid-April, I think. Mid or end of April. So it's about to be May. So maybe mid-May. Yeah. So literally a few weeks. And I just, like, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, obviously not. I was trying to figure my shit out. And I felt like a click with the guy that was, you know, friends with Belle and her boyfriend and his roommate. And we were all spending the night together. Nothing happened. I just wanted to make that clear. Nothing ever happened. But I, like, had felt that connection. I was like, do I really want to date Shop Rat? And I am talking to him. I was like, I really don't know if I want this. Like, I really don't know. And I don't want to lead, like, you on. And he, like, started freaking out. He said, what do you mean you don't want this? And ended up manipulating me into staying. And I was like, fine, whatever. We'll give this a shot. And he, like, kind of controlled my clothes as well. Like, always made, like, snippy little comments and fucking stupid shit. Like, I had bought a tank top from H&M. Very, like, not too crazy. And mistake on me because the fucking tank top was white. And he was like, I don't want you wearing that. I don't want you wearing that. Like, that's not okay. So I ended up hanging out with Brooke. And I ended up wearing that tank top. It was a simple cami tank top. And I was like, hey, do you want to go get Shop Rat and hang out with him? Because he's asking if, you know, to hang out with us. And she was like, yeah, sure, I don't care. So we ended up going to get him or meeting him somewhere, whatever, and we hung out for a minute. And he, like, I ended up getting something on my tank top. I was like, oh, man, I got something on my tank top. Like, whatever. He was like, I told you not to wear it. It's like, wouldn't have happened if you listened to me. It was just one of those, like, stupid little, okay, this is too fucking much. Yeah. And he, like, tried to hang out or, like, get out of the house as much as he could, because if he didn't, his dad would be like, oh, you're staying here helping me do this shit, blah, blah, blah. So if he didn't leave the house and say he had plans, he was going to be stuck there no matter what. So anytime, like, he would just sit and wait. Me and Brooke ended up going to Kalahari with her parents and Cedar Point. And I remember, like, him asking me, like, oh, when do you plan on coming back? Because we were gone for, like, 2 or 3 days. When are you coming back? Like, what time are you coming home? I was like, I don't know. They're saying maybe around 5 o'clock we're going to be home. So maybe I'll be home around, I don't know, 5 or 6, depending. And it got to that point, like, we were relaxing in the water park. Like, I was having a good time. I wasn't worried about being fucking home. And I just remember him, like, blowing up my phone. Like, you said you'd be home by now, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck is going on? Like, why did you lie? Da-da-da. Why are you saying this shit? Like, if you were going to be home, why aren't you home? And I was like, this is not my vacation. Like, yes, I'm on vacation, but Brooke's parents are funding this whole thing. So we are on their time clock. Like, I don't care about coming home right now. Like, I'm enjoying myself. He was like, why the fuck are they doing this? Like, what's going on? Why aren't you coming home? Like, are you going to be home? And I was like, I don't know. This is what they told me. A time. It's past this time. I guess we're not home. Like, I really don't know. I ended up getting home around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. He literally was waiting for me on my fucking road, because I lived on a dirt road. He was waiting for me to give me this promise ring, I guess, or a ring. And I ended up being allergic to it, which I should have taken that as a fucking sign. And I don't even know when her and I went to fucking Cedar Point, whatever. Him and I dated for a year. A year and 3 months, I guess. Fucking insane. I didn't even love him. Like, unfortunately, it was just, you know, a relationship just to have the relationship. And the amount of times I thought that I was in love, but I was just like filling a hole within myself of needing to be in a relationship. Him and I had nothing in common. Like, I did not enjoy his presence whatsoever. And I tried to break up with him multiple times just for him to manipulate me. I ended up getting my own place shortly, like, I don't know, like 2 months before I ended up breaking up with him. And he invited his friends over without really asking me. Like, they were all hanging out, and he was like, can they come over? And I was like, are you guys like, yeah, I guess. And he was like already on his way without even saying it was okay. Like, me giving the okay. But Belle ended up like not being friends with me anymore because of this controlling relationship, which totally fine. So the way that I ended up breaking up with him is Belle ended up texting me in July of 2018. Yes. Wait. No, 2019. Yeah. 2019. She ended up texting me. We were at the 4-H fair, which is like a big country fair. And he had wanted to go to Ohio for this boat racing thing. And I was like, I really like don't want to, but if you want to go, like, you can. He was like, no, I want to, like, it would just be me and you going to boat races. And I was like, okay, well, are we staying in a hotel? He was like, no, I figured we would just sleep in the car. I was like, you want to sleep in a car in the July fucking heat just to go to a boat race? That just for what? And he was like, well, it'd be super cheap. Like, I really want to go. I was like, you can go. You can go by yourself. Like, I don't have to go with you. And he didn't end up going, but I was like, I really don't have a lot of money to like do this, and I would want to get a hotel. And he was like, okay, then I guess I'm not going. Fuck it, whatever. Like, I'm not going. And he kind of like pouted about it. We ended up going to the fair. I had pulled out maybe $40 or $60 to, buy food, buy tickets, go on rides, whatever. He wouldn't even go on the rides with me. Like, don't know why. Would not go on a fucking ride with me. Wouldn't play any games because, oh, they're rigged. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get some food. So I pulled out, it was probably $40, honestly. Pulled it out, got some money, and he was like, so you did have money? And I was like, I just pulled out money to like buy food and stuff. Like, what are you talking about? He was like, all we needed was like this much money or whatever to go on this trip. Money that wasn't his, that he wasn't fucking funding. Like, he didn't have a real fucking job, wasn't really getting paid. Like, his dad would give him money for helping him out in the garage, like, as his job. But he had a job prior to that, and I think his dad made him quit so that way he could help with the family business of, whatever the fuck. Yeah, I don't know. But he, like, made this big deal about him not having money and using my money to go to this boat racing thing in Ohio so we could sleep in our fucking car, or my car. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And then Belle ended up texting me, like, while we were hanging out, while he was still pouting about how he wanted to go to this boat race and that I had lied to him about not having money. Like, he was just planning on using my fucking money. Again, fucking taking care of shit with my fucking money and my job. But Belle ended up texting me. She was like, hey, I'm really sorry about the whole situation that happened, like, last year. Like, I really miss you being my friend. All of this. And her and I were friends since, like, high school, okay? On and off a bit, because the first altercation was me not having a car, and I live, like, 10 minutes out of town, so she would have to drop me off if, like, we hung out. And the first one was like, I don't really want to be friends with you because like I don't want to have to drive you home and do all of this shit. I was like, oh, okay. So we stopped being friends. And then we started being friends again our senior year and whatever else. And she like had a whole bunch of other shit going on with her that stopped it. And then she started dating this great guy, and they're married now with a baby, which absolutely love that for her. But she started dating this guy. We became friends again. And then the whole not jailbait, but shop rat situation fucking happened. Because she wasn't, I don't think she was there for the jailbait situation. She was there for the shop rat situation. So she stopped being my friend again because of the controlling aspect of that. And I was just delusional. But she ended up texting me like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, can we hang out soon? Whatever. And I told him, I was like, oh my God, look who texted me. Like, this is so exciting. Like, I miss her. And he was like, you're not hanging out with her. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He was like, she hurt you. Like, why would you want to hang out with her again? I was like, what is she going to do? Fucking murder me if I hang out with her just because she hurt my feelings? Like, what? And I was like, the only way to really know is to like actually hang out with her and like catch up. And he was like, no, you're not hanging out with her. Like, you're not fucking doing that. And I was like, fascinating. So I ended up telling my mom about the situation because I was conflicted, and she was like, no, like, you need to break up with him. This has gone on long enough. He doesn't take care of himself. Like, you do not need to be dating this guy. He is gross, like, never fucking cleans up after himself. Like, he always has fucking dirty hands, dirty skin from being in this shop. Like, no. Like, and you're not letting somebody control you like that. Like, you need to like break up with him. And another fucked up thing that happened is like my baby brother was born. Okay. During that relationship, my baby brother was born, and I was super excited. I got to watch the birth. I was like, hey, are you coming to the hospital to like, be part of this big family thing for me? And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. And then last fucking minute, he was like, actually, I'm not going to go. And I was like, why? He was like, my dad made a really good point of babies are born every day, so it's not really like that like big of a deal, so I'm not going to go. And I was like, are you fucking kidding? So he didn't even end up, yeah. So like a lot of situations were mostly like that interaction right fucking there. But jump forward, July of 2019. Actually, no. My baby brother was born 2018 of us dating. So like that, also situation. But then fast forward to July of 2019, like, I'm trying to figure out my fucking train of thought. July of 2019. Yes. Told my mom about that situation. She was like this. So I ended up breaking up with him over text so that way he couldn't fucking manipulate me. And then I ended up texting Belle. I was like, hey, do you want to hang out tonight? Because I just broke up with so-and-so, and I really don't want to be home by myself because I had my own apartment. I was living by myself, and he knew where I live. So she was like, yeah, you can just come over to my place. Like, we can hang out here. We can catch up. And we did. We had a great time. Ended up going... No, I didn't have class. It was July. Ended up going home. I was fine. And then I think the next day or Wednesday, he ended up showing up at my front door, banging on my door for 15 minutes. I literally ended up having to call my mom, and she drove over and yelled at him. Like, it was just so uncalled for and whatever else. Like, I was so close to calling the fucking cops. But he was just a mopey fucking person. But it's fine, okay? That whole situation was chaotic. And I really learned a lot from the situation. Clearly not enough, because Pugsley is the fucking worst of them all. And It was so fucking bad, bro. And that'll be the next episode, but I just wanted to dive in there. Um, it's so much worse. I hope you guys are ready. I really hope you guys are ready for that because it's so much fucking worse. And it's not even, when I'm gonna explain this shit, like, it's gonna be so much worse than I lead on. Because you really had to, like, fucking be there for it. Like, it was crazy. Yeah. But I learned a lot from those, and I really, the older I get, the less I pretty much, like, tolerate, or, you live and you learn, and that's okay. So that's all I gotta say. So that is the end of this episode. If you guys really liked it, enjoyed it, you know what to do, share it, send it to somebody, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow the Spotify account. If you guys are interested in purchasing products such as jewelry, or anything else that I have on my Etsy page, there's a link in my Instagram bio and TikTok. So my Instagram is Migdalia Bonilla, Migdalia, B as in boy, Onillaa, or Life with Migdalia, Lifewithmigdalia. God, it's so exhausting having a long fucking name, but whatever. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And like my TikTok and whatever else is pretty much the same. So if you want to give a follow or whatever, do what you gotta do. I appreciate your guys' support, always. If you're interested in listening to, a different topic or have any questions or whatever, don't be scared to comment something or, DM me. More so comment, okay? I look at my comments more than anything. But yeah, so I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time. Love you, bye.